Welcome back. And to those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Vern Houle. I spent 30 years inside the Jehovah's Witness organization. I raised a family, built kingdom halls, watched elders handle the most personal parts of people's lives. I even worked my way up to being a regular pioneer. And I did that for a number of years, even went into unassigned territories in the Arctic of Canada. But then after leaving in 2012, I just walked away. I started looking back at how justice actually works on the inside, especially when it comes to sexual abuse. Well, today I want to talk about a case close to home, Kelowna, British Columbia, and show you how what happened there connects directly to the organization's secret rule book for elders. So, according to the infotel.ca, it talks about a 49-year-old Jehovah's Witness woman said she was raped by a 61-year-old man that she knew through the congregation. And the prosecutor later told the court the woman was under pressure from her church to drop the charges. And then 2 weeks later, the case was stayed, meaning it never went to trial. So you might ask, well, what happened? What happened to the man? Well, the man walked away. And for most people, that sounds like a local tragedy. But for those of us who lived inside the system, inside the JW organization, it's a pattern. So let's take a look at the article from Kelowna, from info.ca. Did a Kelowna church pressure a rape victim to drop the charge? And this was done thanks to Ben Balmer. Ben Balmer. This is the guy right here that put that together. He's actually out of Vernon, BC. I will send him an email. And let's take a look at Ben's article. This is brand new news, folks. It's August 25th, 2025. And it starts out by saying a Crown prosecutor in a Kelowna sexual assault case strongly suggested the alleged victim was being pressured by her church to drop the charges 2 weeks before the charges were dropped. And details of the case are murky, but some allegations were revealed in the July 10th hearing. A 61-year-old Kelowna man was accused of raping a 49-year-old woman in his home in February 2024. And she has spoken to the members of her congregation, and I understand there has been some pressure to not proceed with this charge, Crown prosecutor told the Kelowna courtroom July 10th. And he said it seems from the correspondence from the complaint that she's having some pressure. She seems to walk from wanting to proceed to not wanting to proceed. So she walked away from it. The charges were stayed July 29th. That means they were dropped. It wouldn't go to trial. And the Crown prosecutor disclosed in the hearing that she was not very familiar with the file and was reading from a colleague's notes, later saying it was unclear. And the BC Prosecution Service has not yet responded to the request for more information. The victim is a Jehovah's Witness, but which congregation isn't known. And in the July hearing, the court heard the untested allegation that the two met through common acquaintances and had gone out a couple of times in the company of other people. You know, that's what JWs do, right, when they're courting. And they texted each other and sometimes met up at the dog park. They were developing feelings for each other and exploring a potential relationship. That's kind of how it would work. And in the February 2024, the woman turned up unannounced at his West Kelowna home. You know, that's allegedly, right, what happened. And he asked why she was there and immediately proceeded to shut the door, the Crown said. And the allegation is that he grabbed her. So the guy said he asked why she was there and he went to shut the door. And the woman said, well, he grabbed her. And what follows appears to be a series of violations of her sexual integrity over that evening. And the accused, whose identity is not known to the Info News, but will only identify for now as BM, is alleged to have raped her in several forms all night, over the night. The Crown said she stayed the night and was in a state of shock the next morning when she left. The victim later met up with BM, this JW guy. The victim later met up with him and confronted him about the incident. They then went to their Jehovah's Witness congregation, and then they reported what happened. They'd go to, maybe they had different congregations. The guy was maybe in another congregation. Kelowna is a big place. There's a lot of congregations. And so they went and talked to their elders. So then he says in this article, this I understand is to be the responsibility of their faith, the Crown told the court. It's not known which Jehovah's Witness congregation was involved. She later went to the police, and the guy was charged. So they charged the guy with sexual assault. This man, 61-year-old man. And it says the July hearing was BM's application to alter his bail condition so he could contact the complainant. The Crown said that they were very reluctant to release the no contact order. He just raped her, right? Now he wants to go and see her? Well, without the victim in the courtroom, BC Provincial Court Judge Lisa Wyatt refused to amend the no contact order. So she left it in. And she says, I want to ensure that there's not undue influence occurring in the respect of the complainant's position, the judge said. And the matter was scheduled to go to a 3-day trial in November until Crown prosecutors stayed the charge. So that means it's not going to trial. Now, it's protocol for the Crown not to give reason why charges are stayed, but if their only witness refused to take part, they wouldn't have a case, right? So when reached by phone, BM, that's the man, the guy that allegedly raped the woman. Well, the man denied the Jehovah's Witness congregation pressured her. So he said no, they didn't pressure her. And he said we sorted it out ourselves. He said, but I thought he had a no contact order. But anyways, adding that she dropped the charges. There's nothing else to it. And having contact with the victim would have been a breach of BM's bail conditions, but he's not facing any breach charges. So there's something odd there, right? So, and this is a Jehovah's Witness oddity. So if you remember up here, they both went to the elders, right? Different congregations, and they all got together. Those elders got together. Don't you kid yourself. This is in the courts. This is bringing Jehovah's name into the picture. It's going to be all over the news. So they had to settle this for them, and then they had the two of them go and talk to each other. And that's kind of against the elders book. We're going to look at the elders book here. But this is what's happened, folks. This is what's reported on. This is what's hit the news. And so having contact with the victim would have been a breach of his bail, but he's not facing any breach. The man, BM, wouldn't confirm whether or not he is a Jehovah's Witness. So he's being very silent. This is a JW theocratic warfare tactic, folks. Don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. The elders told him this. This guy's primed. He was primed for this meeting, this news reporter. We all know that. Now, he says, I'm not making any more comments, he says. And this is a typical JW, give you the silent treatment. And he's also denied he sexually assaulted the victim. Oh, no, I didn't do anything. And there was nothing done. Nothing, he said. There was nothing done. Nothing, he said. Yeah, the elders threw it out. They probably blamed the woman. We'll go through the elders book here pretty quickly. But other than that, I don't really communicate with her that much, he said. So he got away with her. and she reported him, so he doesn't communicate. He doesn't love her, obviously. If that's what he's saying, he doesn't communicate with her that much. What's going on? So Info News CA reached out to several Jehovah's Witness congregations, but did not immediately hear back. And note to readers to connect with the Victim Services Program or Violence Against Women program, call Victim Link BC at 1-800-563-0808. It provides information and referrals to all victims, as well as immediate crisis response to victims of sexual and family violence. And to contact the reporter for a story, Ben Balmer, you can email him. I'm going to send him an email. Email him this video. Okay, well, thanks, Ben Balmer, for that story. Ben Balmer. Thanks for that story. Excellent job. We're going to move on to the elders book and see what it says and teaches the elders how to deal with these types of things. Okay, so here's the shepherding the flock of God. This is the elders book. All the elders in the world are under this book. So it's September 2025. It's the brand new one. And of course, it's copyrighted out of the Republic of Korea. That's a legal deflection. But what we're going to do here to make this quite quick, there's no section that you'll find in the table of contents on this. So the easiest way I've found is I have a search on my PDF reader. I'm just going to plug the word in rape. It comes up 7 times. And here's the first time it comes up. It comes up right under a section in the Elders book, Chapter 6, determining whether a committee of elders should be formed. And I guarantee you, in this Kelowna case, a committee of elders was formed on both ends. It says right here, eyewitnesses, there must be 2 or 3. It doesn't say that anybody should be calling the police or anything like that. So it says, if the wrongdoing has not been established but serious questions have been raised, the body of elders should assign 2 elders to investigate. For example, there may be just 1 eyewitness, and usually the most loving course is for an eyewitness first to encourage the accused to approach the elders. And the elders can then allow the accused a few days to approach them. And if the eyewitness is extremely timid or is a victim of rape or of child sex abuse, the eyewitness would never be required to approach the accuser. So they have a requirement where they want to get the accuser in front of the person that's accusing them. Although they say they may not have to if it's child abuse or rape, it doesn't say that it won't happen. And in this Kelowna case, it did happen. Those 2 got back together, and it got taken out of the court system, and it didn't get called rape anymore. They dropped the charges. They put a stay on it. Now, the presentation of the eyewitness during the committee meeting, although it's a rape or child abuse, it's never required to do so. So they're just emphasizing that they don't have to meet with the accused. Let's go to the next point. We're on point number 4, 4th time. Now, sexual immorality requires willing participation. One who was raped would not be guilty of sexual immorality. And elders need discernment when considering claims of rape. What does that mean, discernment? Well, they should take into consideration the factors such as mental disposition of the person, the circumstances that led up to the incident, and any delay in reporting. So when determining if an individual is guilty of sexual immorality, it's important to establish the relevant facts. This is especially true when the scriptural freedom to remarry is involved, so on and so forth. So nothing there for going to the police. They're handling all of this stuff in-house, folks. I thought rape was a crime. If you look at that story, well, this got stayed. It didn't go to trial. They handled it in-house. Let's see what else they say about it. Sexual immorality requires willing participation. One who is raped is not. Okay, the next section here is viewing pornography or viewing rape is bad. And the last one is just a table of contents. So there you have it. If wrongdoing has not been established. So they're going to establish if there's wrongdoing. They're going to have a whole pile of meetings. The guy in the newspaper article said he didn't do it. He said he told the woman to go away, so he denied it to the Crown prosecutor, but he did get charged with rape. But I'm wondering what's happened now. If they state it, does the charges get dropped? The elders got involved and they silenced the victim. So that's how they do it. It's from the use of the elders book, folks, and there's no secrets here. This is done all over the world. They're in plain language. The elders decide whether they believe you. They have no training on psychology, but they're going to decide whether they believe you. They will ask how long you waited to report, whether you fought, whether you screamed. But tell me this, who's going to hear a woman scream if she's in a private home with a man that she's already trusts, a fellow witness who suddenly grabs her? She was walking the dog with him the other day. That's not justice, folks. That's theology. That's not justice. So when the elders see a sexual assault case, they don't treat it as a crime. They treat it as a potential immorality. And if they can't prove it with the two witnesses, or if they think the victim hesitated, it gets reclassified as a matter of conscience. And the accused might get a private reproof, maybe lose some privileges for a few months, and then he's back on the sound system, giving talks again. Meanwhile, the victim is often told to forgive and move on. Or worse, she's viewed as spiritually weak for bringing reproach on Jehovah's name. She's the one that put this in the newspaper. And I guarantee you, folks, that's what's happening right now behind closed doors. I've sat in those meetings. I've watched elders debate whether a woman screamed loud enough to count as resistance. That's what their policy demands, evidence of struggle, not evidence of trauma. And when the victim doesn't meet that impossible standard, she's quietly blamed. So when the Kelowna case collapsed, I wasn't surprised. I was angry because I know exactly why. This isn't an isolated event, folks. Across Canada, around the world, witnesses, policies instruct elders to call their service department, not the police. The result, decades of hidden files, destroyed records, and victims who never get their day in court. And still, the organization receives charitable status, tax exemptions, even while discouraging members from reporting crimes. Well, folks, keep living your life with love. Love is what works. But inside Jehovah's Witness culture, the word love is sacred. But in cases like this, it becomes distorted beyond recognition. To the man in Kelowna, love meant taking what he wanted while no one was watching. A night that left a woman dazed and discarded at dawn. And to the elders, love meant protecting Jehovah's name from reproach. They told her not to go to court, not to bring shame on the congregation. And they said there were no witnesses, so there was no crime. But real love doesn't hide in silence. Real love stands with the wounded and calls wrong by its name. I spent 30 years believing that organization defined love. I was wrong. I watched victims pressured into silence, told that speaking out would bring reproach on Jehovah. But what brings reproach isn't telling the truth. It's the cover-up that follows. It's the cover-ups that follows. That's the reproach. I left the witnesses to learn what love actually means. protecting, not punishing, listening, not judging, healing, not hiding. And to the woman in Kelowna, and to every survivor silenced by a congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, you deserved justice. And to every reporter out there, to every viewer watching this, look deeper. The words are written in their own manual. You just have to read them. Well, folks, live your life with love. Friends, love, and knowledge are not enemies. They're companions. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.